Top of the morning, mutants. It's Saturday, August 12th. I said I was going to start doing some movie reviews, and I haven't done any of those yet. I was waiting on Wakanda Forever to come out to be my first one, and then I'm going to do a Black Adam one, because I wanted to do a movie that really means a lot to me for my first one, and Wakanda Forever is it. The first Black Panther was one of the best MCU movies for me. I'm excited and full of trepidation about this movie at the same time, because I have my doubts about certain aspects of the movie, but I'm gonna do my spoiler review. Don't watch this review, sorry, if you don't want spoilers or you haven't seen the movie, because this will be a full spoiler review of Wakanda Forever. I'll see you guys after the movie. Okay guys, so I'm back to finish this review of the Black Panther Wakanda Forever, the second Black Panther installment. I wanted to wait at least 24 hours to let the movie marinate, to give it a lot of thought, and then come back and do the review. So I'm going to break it down into a few things. The good, the great, and the bad about the Black Panther movie. Before you go any further, I said it a little earlier in the video, I'm going to say it again just in case somebody didn't realize it. This is a full spoiler review. If you haven't seen the movie yet, and you don't want anything about the movie to be spoiled, stop this video now, because you don't want to go any further. Okay, so I'm going to start with the good, and then the bad, and then the great. M'Baku, for one, was the good. Jabari. I liked the way they continued his character. I think he's fun. I think he's a really cool character. He's something a little different than what comic fans are used to. It gives it a different twist on the movie. Okoye has been consistently awesome in the Black Panther movies. I love her. I love the actress. I love everything she does. And I specifically love her as Okoye. The action scenes and the fight choreography, definitely more of the good. I felt like the action scenes in this movie were incredible. They were AAA, like all Marvel movies we're used to. And the movie is just beautiful, just absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so before I do the great, which is my favorite part, because I think there was a lot of great things about this movie, I'm going to cover the things about the movie that I personally didn't like, that I thought were the bad parts of the movie. It pains me to do this because overall I really loved the movie, and I don't want to say too much negative about it, but I want to talk about the things that I thought were the bad parts of the movie. I felt like Shuri's performance, probably going to get a lot of hate for this, was weaker in this movie than it was in the first Black Panther movie. Personally, I would have gone with a different Black Panther going forward than Shuri. I don't think the way they've built her character lends to her being the Black Panther. For one, she lacks the combat training, I felt like. T'Challa, for instance, trained to be the Black Panther, the combat training his entire life. Shuri was more of a critical thinker, more of a scientist. I felt like that kind of took away from the Black Panther. And in the first movie, her character was just done as more of a fun comedy type character, and I think also that took away from the Black Panther. Now I know I can't say that without saying who I would have chosen to be the Black Panther going forward. I think the obvious choice for me, albeit it's different in the comics, I know Shuri is Black Panther at several points in the comics, and she's the protector at several points in the comics, as even Black Panther is the same time as T'Challa in the comics, where T'Challa is more the vengeance of Bast, and Shuri is the ruling Black Panther. I liked that a lot in the comics. But to me, I would have strayed completely from the comics had it been me, and I would have made Okoye the Black Panther. I love her character in the MCU. I love the actress. I feel like she has that raw power and wisdom and stoicism that really embody the Black Panther. So I would have loved to have seen them go that route. However, I don't hate Shuri as the Black Panther, and I knew going into this movie that that was more than likely what was going to happen, and I felt like I was going to be incredibly disappointed by it, and I was far less disappointed than I thought I was going to be. So overall, I felt like making sure the Black Panther was a bad decision, but the way they did it, the way they filmed the movie, the actress's performance in the movie, and the way they built her character on loss and pain to become the Black Panther was overall a good thing. I still feel like I would have gone in a little bit of a different direction. More of the bad was the scene they did with Michael B. Jordan. I love Michael B. Jordan. He was my second choice to be the Black Panther going forward. Would have loved to see Killmonger brought back into the MCU somehow and redeemed and become the Black Panther, rather than the scene they did where Killmonger just further solidified that he's just about vengeance and didn't learn anything from T'Challa in the first movie. I didn't really care for that. The third thing about the movie, and the only other thing about the movie that I have as a minor complaint that I didn't really like, was the lack of surprises, the lack of cameos, and the lack of specifically in-credit scenes to help build the MCU going forward. I would have loved to have seen more Easter eggs, character cameos. I was really hoping for a Doctor Doom post-credit scene, but that's just me being such a big Doctor Doom fan. I don't want to harp on the bad too much. I don't feel like there was a lot of bad about the movie, despite the fact that I felt like I was going to be incredibly disappointed if they went the route of making Shuri the new Black Panther. They did it really well, and I didn't hate it nearly as much as I thought I would. Another thing I didn't like, another part of the bad, was some of the costumes, specifically the Midnight Angel costume that they had Okoye in at the end. I didn't like it at all. Sorry. That costume looked corny. It looked corny. It was like, it didn't look like it belonged in the movie. It didn't look like it belonged in Wakanda. I don't know why they went with that weird blue color, but it had the alien bug eyes. I just felt so incredibly out of place. Now onto the final part. The part that I really wanted to talk about is the things that I really loved about this movie. First of all, I want to mention the very beginning of the movie was such a great moment. Not only a great moment in a movie, but a great moment as a human being. Usually when you go to the movies, movie theaters are loud, people tend to be obnoxious, and it tends to kind of kill the vibe a lot of times, especially for someone who's going to see something as near and dear to them as Marvel is to me and has always been to me. I learned to read when I was 5 years old, so my mom would buy me comics at a gas station. That's how much Marvel has always meant to me. But at the very beginning of the movie, when they roll the Marvel comic strip scene, like they do in all the movies, they usually have some sort of tone to that, and they always have music and sound added to it. But they chose to make it a moment of silence with scenes of Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa. And it was one of the most touching things that's ever happened, because no one made a sound in the entire movie theater. You could have heard a pin drop in there for the full 20, 30 seconds, however long it was. And it was incredibly emotional. And I felt almost connected to the people in the movie theater about how much we all loved Chadwick Boseman and how sad and surprising his passing was. And the only sound you could hear was people being emotional, and that to me was one of the greatest movie moments I've ever had, because I was torn up about Chadwick Boseman. I mean, as you can see, I'm still kind of torn up about Chadwick Boseman, and that was such a beautiful moment. I'm glad that the directors of the movie and that Marvel chose to go that route. It was amazing. Along with the entire movie, the theme, the tone of the entire movie was that really emotional, had that really emotional feeling to it, and I felt like it connected you to the movie a lot more. The second thing I want to talk about are the Atlanteans. I really loved the way they did the Atlanteans. I wasn't sure how much I was going to like them changing the canon as much as they did, but everything they did was so well done. The way they made him a Maya, the way they based the Atlanteans in a different part of the world and off of the Mayan culture, I felt like was incredible. I didn't think I was going to like that because it was going to be a lot of changes to canon, but they did it really well. And then the Atlanteans looked really awesome. They had that blue look to them. It was so cool. I loved that a lot. I loved the actress that plays Ironheart, Riri Williams. I'm really excited to see where they go with her moving forward. I wasn't a huge fan of a couple of things about Riri Williams. I guess I should have talked about these during the bad. I don't like that they didn't give any homage to Tony Stark concerning Riri Williams. Even something as small as Riri saying, well, how did you get into MIT, Riri? And her saying, well, I got into MIT because I'm brilliant, but the reason I'm able to go to MIT is because of the Stark Foundation, and I take inspiration from Tony Stark. I think that would have been a really cool homage to Robert Downey Jr.'s MCU character, and I think more importantly, it would have been a cool homage to the comics where Riri takes a lot of inspiration from Iron Man and is at times an apprentice of Iron Man in the comics. I think they should have done that, but I didn't hate it still. I really liked Riri overall, and I didn't care as much for her armor, the Wakandan armor that they made her. I think it should have been, I think it looked just kind of bulky and not great, but overall I loved Riri Williams. I think she was one of the great. I think she was fantastic. The actress was brilliant. She was funny. She was fun to watch on screen. And I'm really excited to see more about what they're going to do with her future in the MCU. And then last but not least, the greatest part of the entire movie overall, Namor. Wow. Like, when I first saw the actor, I was like, I'm not sure if this guy's going to be a great Namor or not. I hope so. But he was amazing. The way they wrote Namor, the way that Namor was very much so this pragmatic, stoic, critical thinking individual that he is from the comics, almost to a villainous fault sometimes. It really nailed who I think of when I think of Namor. It really reminded me of the Namor in the Hickman's Avengers run, where Namor was just completely pragmatic and stoic to the point of being villainous. Like, I really liked him, and I really think that he's going to be hopefully a pivotal and important character in the MCU going forward. So my overall impression and rating of Black Panther, this being my first movie review that I've ever done, I want to give you guys how I'm going to rate movies. I want to do a scale of 1 to 10 because I feel like you need that many points and all the points in between to accurately do it. My favorite movie of all time is Return of the King, so I'll say Return of the King is what I would put as a 10. Or John Carpenter's They Live, another 10, one of my favorite movies of all time. And then all the way down to 1 to 10. Pretty simple. My overall rating for Wakanda Forever is an 8. I really enjoyed this movie. I really liked this movie a lot. However, there were some things I didn't like about it. There were some weak points, very, very few. Overall, I loved the feel of the movie, the pacing of the movie. I loved what they did with the movie. I would have liked to have gotten more overarching continuity for the MCU. You get what you get sometimes. All right, well, thank you guys for watching my first movie review. If you're new to my channel, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. My channel is mostly theme park content, but I have decided to start doing a lot of movie reviews, especially Marvel and DC, which are things that I love, and Star Wars, things that overlap with my other content about Disney and Universal, especially like Marvel, Harry Potter, anything that overlaps with Disney and Universal is what I'd like to focus more of my movie reviews on. But who knows, if these videos are popular and they do well, people love them, I may do more movies. Thank you all for joining me today. Like and subscribe. Stay brutal.